Hi, welcome to the Vue Instance tutorial. Creating a Vue instance is the starting point of any Vue app. We can create a new Vue instance with a Vue function. We can pass a bunch of options to change the behavior and create the instance as we want. All the Vue components are Vue instances. So most of the options are acceptable for components as well, except some root specific options. The main Vue instance of an app acts as a root of the component tree. For example, when we creating a to-do app in Vue, we may have to create multiple components such as to-do list and done list in the to-do component. So the component tree will be like this. Create a Vue instance. Create a Vue instance is very simple. We can use the Vue function to do that. Let's create a new instance. We can add a created lifecycle hook to make sure the instance successfully created. Don't worry if you are new to lifecycle hooks. We will talk more about it in the same session. Let's check it on browser console. Yes, the created hook executed, which means the instance created successfully. Data and methods. When the instance created, it add all the properties in data to the reactivity system. After that, Vue will react and re-render according to those data changes. So in order to trigger changes on those data, we will have to set our data by adding default values. We can create input and bind data property called name using vModel. Create a paragraph and bind the name. Let's check it working or not. Here you can see the binding is not working. The reason is we didn't add the data property name to our data. The properties that we added to data only has the bidirectional binding ability and reactivity. So to tackle that, we can add the property to data and set a default value. But we don't need to set any default name here. So we can set an empty string. That's it. Let's see how it's working now. Yes, it's solved. Now we can check some possible values that can be set as default value of data properties. Let's see how to do that. If it is string, we can set empty string. If it a number, we can set 0. If it a boolean, we can set initial value true or false. If it an array or collection, we can set an empty array. If it an object, we can set an empty object. If we want to remove a particular data from the reactivity system, we can use object freeze method. We can create a user object with the name property. Then we can add the user data to instance data. Create input and bind the username using vModel. Create a paragraph and bind the username. Let's check it. Yes, working as we expected. Now we are going to freeze the user data. So freezing user object. Let's check how it working now. Yes, the user data is not reactive. It's omitted from the reactivity system. Vue exposes a bunch of instance methods. All those methods are prefixed with $sign to differentiate from user-defined properties. Let's try to use some of them. We can console the app element, then the name property from data. We can listen to an event using on method and console its payload. Emit some data to the event using emit method. Terminate the event listening with off method. Try again emit data to the same event. Let's check it in the browser. Yes, element, name data properties value, and the event payload logged here successfully. Lifecycle hooks. Vue instances go through a series of initialization when it created. Vue run functions called lifecycle hooks each stage. That means we have the opportunity to run our codes in each stage of those lifecycle. Created is one of the hooks, it will trigger after instance created. And mounted is another hook, it will trigger after rendered the element. Let's try how to run our code in those hooks. Create created hook with a log. Then mounted. Check it on the browser console. Yes, the hooks are executed. Lifecycle diagram. Let's explore the Vue instance lifecycle diagram. When we create a new Vue instance first, it initializes events and lifecycles. Then it calls the before create hook. After that, it will initialize injections and reactivity. Then it calls the created hook. Now the Vue instance is created successfully. The next step is check for EL option. If we don't provide the EL option, it will wait to call the Vue instance method mount to continue further. After collecting EL option, the next step is check for the template option. If we don't provide a template option, it will compile the app elements outer HTML as the template. If we provide a template option, it will compile it into render function. After that, it will call before mount hook. The next step is replace the element. After that, it will call mounted hook. Now the elements will be successfully rendered to the browser. So mounted is the best hook to initialize JavaScript plugins such as jQuery. After mounting, it will check for data changes. It will call before update hook and then re-render the virtual DOM and do the patch when the data changed. After that, it will call updated. After mounting, it will also listen for elements destroy. So when destroying the element, it will call before destroy and tear down watchers, child components and even listeners. After the destroying process is done, it will call destroyed hook. Let's see it in action. Here we created a component called test, added a template with the input and bind the name property, added the name property to data. The input is added to check the update hooks. These hooks before create to mounted will work when upload. Here in our root instance, we set a data property called isVisible as true and bind it to the test components vif. Here in button, we set the isVisible value to false. So when we click on this button, the test component will terminate and destroy hooks will work. Let's check it on browser. Yes, before create to mounted hooks are worked. Let's check update hooks. Yes, working. Now terminate the component by click on the button. Yes, destroy hooks are executed. Thanks for watching this session. We hope this session helpful for you to understand more about Vue Instance. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials. See you in the next session.